So, Hailey Bailey, thank you so much for coming on the Sales and Sports podcast. This is season 2. Super excited to have you on as a big success story of Entr Tech and one of our alumni graduates who's doing so well in the space, and another parent coming through our program. So, yeah, without further ado, let's jump into it. Who are you? Whereabouts are you based? And what are you doing within the tech space?
Yeah, it's so nice to speak to you again, Jack. Yeah, I'm Hailey Bailey. I'm working as an SDR at Deel at the moment since August. Came through the Entr Tech program in May, so got a job quite quickly. Just a bit of background into me, just really brief. Graduated uni, St Andrews, when it's cold up there today, 2012. I worked in recruitment for a couple of years. Had a career break, got 2 boys. They're 6 and 4 now at school, thankfully. So took a break to obviously raise them and spend time with them, just make kind of sense financially. We were self-employed, me and my husband, kind of ran an electrical firm together. He was out doing the installs and I was inside staying warm, trying to build the business up. So got into another, like a sales role, I suppose, for electric chargers. So very, very random. As national account manager, wasn't really what I was looking for. Not more account management, not enough sales for me. So that's kind of when I started looking around. I needed something remote, and with the kids, that was a big stumbling block for me. And obviously, I came across Entr Tech on TikTok, doom scrolling, and it paid off at the end. And so I'm doing really well. About 5 months in now, so start of a new year. Hopefully, make that promotion this year. That's what we want.
Nice. That's absolutely flown by the way. 5 months.
Oh,
if you look at it, it does seem 5 months, but off the bat, it seems like it's probably even 2 weeks ago that we were first having like an initial conversation. That's crazy how quickly time goes, and how well you're doing as well. So I guess talk to us about the interview process breaking into the tech space. So a lot of listeners might be thinking about applying for SDR roles, or might have interviews lined up. What was it like from your side? Was there anything that came at you as a bit of a shock, or do you mind just talking through the process at Deel?
Yeah, I was so nervous. I hadn't been an SDR before, hadn't done anything to do with tech sales. I had sales experience, and that was kind of about it. So obviously without your help, I probably would have been a lot more nervous. But I think I got really lucky with Deel, with my manager. Shout out to Isabella. She's so nice. She was lovely. So my first interview was obviously with my now manager. It was quite informal, really conversational. We did some role plays quite early on, which kind of put me at ease for the rest of the interview, got it out of the way a little bit. But I think she was just kind of looking for if we'd be a personality match, if I had the drive to do, what I'm being paid to do now. And I think showing that I've done the Entr Tech thing like in my own time. It was 6 weeks. It was quite a lot of work, at nights. I think that kind of went in my favor, as well as, I'm willing to put the work in. But so the first stage was quite chilled.
Sure.
The next one was with the big boss. He was lovely as well. That was really chilled too. So I think I might have got quite lucky with Deel. Kind of the same again, a bit of a conversation, more about me. More role plays, kind of putting a few objections in there, because I think she kept the first one quite easy. But the second one was a little bit tougher. I think after that, I think there was a home test. It was kind of just prospecting, just seeing if you know what to look out for in a prospect, and kind of going through the sales process there. But again, they're not looking for product knowledge. They're kind of looking for, can you be positive? Are you thinking on the right tracks? That sort of thing. And the last interview was a little bit intense. That was with the big boss. It was an intense interview. I wasn't sure I got it after that one, but got the good news a few weeks later.
In what sense was it intense? I know you mentioned, I guess, a lot of folk that come through the program and interview at last stages, they're speaking with senior revenue leaders, and maybe they don't have so much time. So it's almost like, right, let's get into it. Who are you as a person? Or they'll just, go to town on certain questions. So why was it so tough, the last stage interview?
I think I've been lulled by the other two being quite conversational. I found the last one quite like firing questions at you, because obviously they've not got a lot of time. They just need to check this, and this. So yeah, it was more of a firing questions more than a conversation. And I think it just felt that way. I felt quite deflated afterwards, if I'm being quite honest. But yeah, it was in the end. But yes, it was a bit.
That's quite common though, because after so many rounds and there's so much on the line, it just saps a lot of energy. So anyone listening to this, if you're going through strenuous interview processes, it's completely normal to feel, deflated or just a bit, but not burnt out, but a bit knackered and tired afterwards. Cool. And I think it definitely helped you having prior sales experience before getting into tech as an SDR, because a lot of firms, won't necessarily look at individuals if they don't have sales or tech experience from the past. So I think it definitely helped you sort of understood, the ins and outs, and you'd done cold approaches and outreach before, which is really cool. How was the onboarding and training? Like, when were you on the phones? Were they sort of day one, here's a list of accounts, get going, or was there a lot of product specific knowledge to get you up to speed with?
Yeah, well, I was pleased I wasn't on the phones the first week, I'll put it that way. Yeah. I think we had 3 weeks of onboarding. It's a lot of product knowledge. I was getting a little bit nervous. There was loads of meetings. Obviously, with it being such a big platform, there was then so many products. There was so much to learn. Yeah. I was like, there's no way I'm going to remember all this. There's like reams. I'm like looking over my notes. I'm like, how do people remember this? But obviously, looking back, it's great to have that knowledge, but I don't use all that knowledge every day. I don't need to know the ins and outs of every single thing. I need to know my customer. I need to know what their pains are. And if I do, then that's a little bonus. But from my perspective as an SDR, that's the AE's job. I'll pass that over to them. But yeah, I think it can be quite a lot, the onboarding with the knowledge. But yeah, if you're going through that, just chill out. You don't need to know everything.
Yeah, that's a great takeaway. It's just take what you need to do your job well, run with it, make yourself invaluable and productive as soon as possible. Start bringing in leads and generating pipeline. The rest will follow. If you're making that step up to the AE role in the next 12 months or whenever, that's when you can really, once you've proven you've hit target month in, month out, quarter over quarter, that's when you can start putting time aside to really get technical with the ins and outs of the product. But yeah, as you mentioned, get to know your ICP, get to know the the basics, and ready to pitch. Cool. Okay, that sounds like a pretty quick ramp. You're working completely remote, so do you mind giving a bit of background to what Deel, the software, does? Because I know you guys sort of live your values of working remote fully. So yeah, how is it working remote, and maybe a bit of background to the company setup and structure?
Yeah, so Deel, obviously they're an amazing company. Yeah, so we support remote working, we support global hiring. So if you've got a company in the UK, but you found the right talent, but they're in the US, we can kind of support that. So yeah, and we live it too. Every single person works remote from anywhere. You just have to make sure you work in the time zone that you're working in. But obviously that's up to you. If you want to get up at 4 a.m. obviously one of my colleagues, Holly, she worked in Bali for 3 months. Wow. I know it's just different time. But yeah, I know I was very jealous on the calls with her. But yeah, if you want to do that, you're absolutely welcome to do that, which is amazing for me. I'm not in Bali, but obviously with the kids, it's amazing to be that flexible too. As long as I get everything done, as long as I hit my KPIs, they don't care really. I'm getting it done. They treat you like a grown up, if that's the right way to put it. Cool. But yeah, it's amazing. As a parent, that is definitely a big plus for me. I couldn't have worked in a big London office. I could maybe get to, I'm based in Preston, Lancashire. I could maybe get to Manchester, but yeah, the fact that I can pick them up if they're sick, like they always are at the minute, that's invaluable. That's epic. And I guess that flexibility is one of the draws to working in tech, right? What are the other perks for being in the industry, apart from, I guess, the career progression and working with smart, intelligent people and that flexibility? What else, I guess, brings you to work every day thinking, okay, this is pretty cool to what you're doing before? Yeah, well, not to be too cheesy, but I genuinely think we do help companies, which is always nice. If you're working with a good product, it makes it easy to sell that too. Yeah. So that's great to be able to help companies expand the way they're want to expand like into the US or wherever, that's huge. I mean, knowing that your product actually helps people is a massive draw for me. But without being crude either, the money's great. Do you know? The money and discretion is fantastic. And I think the targets, if we hit target after that, we've got accelerators too. So that's fantastic as well. Having a young family, being able, that earning potential is great.
100%. Money talks. And I think anyone getting into tech sales, if they've got that drive and they want to be financially rewarded, it's the place to be. So that's super cool. I guess we've talked about the perks, which is amazing. Were there any challenges, I guess, taking on an SDR role at such a scaling company, I guess, and even working from home sounds like the dream, but I guess how is that? And or has it been plain sailing and pretty breezy?
It's been great. I mean, we use Slack, so we've got really open communication, like with the team, with the wider team. So that's great. I think for me, one of the main challenges, especially working at home, I suppose in all tech jobs really, but I think it was amplified working at home, was switching off. I think I had a great October, I had a great November, and if I'm being quite honest, in December I felt a little bit burnt out. You put your laptop down, but you're still thinking about where I'm going to sleep, thinking about the call.
Meetings.
I could have done that better today. I could have done that better, but so I think switching off for me has been something coming into this new year that I'm trying to do a bit better. I'm trying to calendar block a little bit better, but I think a lot of people find that as well. But that's definitely one of the biggest challenges for me.
Nice. I think lots of people can relate. Even when I was in the role or in the industry, it's quite addictive, weirdly, because you're getting that sort of dopamine hit from booking meetings or getting responses. I remember like sometimes I'd have not even dreams. They're probably dreams because there were meetings coming in, but probably nightmares of like seeing emails if someone's accepted a meeting. So like that's something, appreciate your sort of candidness, because I think a load of people go through it, and especially SDR role where you can get rewarded super quickly. Like your commissions can come through that month or that quarter, as opposed to an account executive where it's a slow burner and you're closing deals. With an SDR, you can be making some sizable commissions within months. So trying to turn off or switch off is tricky, but you're right. Like if you can find a good balance and spend time out of hours, just, not thinking about work or doing work, it's reaps the rewards in the long term. But no, that's really really cool to hear you sharing that. So from my standpoint, I guess, how are you doing target wise? So you had a good October, good November. Sounds like you're doing pretty well in terms of adjusting to the role and the industry.
Yeah, no, I had a great few months really. I think my first month I got 80%. So I was like, oh gosh, I was only one off 100. I was like, God's sake. So I thought I'll double down in October. Yeah, I hit 200% in October. So I was really happy with that. Still ramping, but very happy. November, I think it was just under 170% in November. So again, happy with that. My December was not great, but we'll deal with that. We'll stick to October and November. But yeah, I was feeling it a bit in December. But yeah, start January again fresh. But yeah, most of those were from cold outreach too, which is obviously great.
Nice. And yeah, so those kind of meetings that you're booking, like what's working for you? I guess it depends to each organization and which product you're selling, but what channel's working? Like, is LinkedIn working? People say emails are dead. Are you cold calling a lot? Like, what's your preferred method of choice for yourself and for others in your team?
Yeah, we did a review of like my last quarter, and I think 70% of mine have been booked over the phone.
Wow.
I think 4% via email, and obviously quite 27% via LinkedIn. So for me, it's calling all the way. I think it's the best way, and plus I think it's the best way to disqualify someone as well. Sure. Straight away. But yeah, the LinkedIn, I really enjoy LinkedIn. I think the LinkedIn outreach is great. That's another thing that I'm pushing this year. But yeah, for me, emails are great, but they've got to be super, super personalized. I wasn't a massive fan of sending out mass like automated emails. I didn't really get many replies. It wasn't really worth the effort for me personally. They work for other people, but yeah, so mine's definitely calls and then LinkedIn, the way to go.
You're exactly like me, weirdly, because I think at my previous firms that I worked at, we used outreach and everyone used to sort of bulk upload sequences, and that would be like my Friday afternoon activity. I didn't really pay too much attention about it, but all my meetings were basically on the phone, and a few on LinkedIn. But I think the phone, yeah, as you mentioned, you can disqualify people, get to the know quicker, and yeah, especially if you find their mobile numbers or all the right contact details, it's a winner. Cool. So for myself and the listeners, I guess, do you mind giving some last bits of advice for anyone looking to get into tech? So I guess once you're in the SDR role, to do well and I guess to thrive within a team environment, like what's your bits of advice for anyone listening in looking to break in but do well?
Yeah, I think obviously breaking in, I would say do your research, learn as much as you can. Obviously, places like the Entr Tech Academy will be great for that. Little flip there. It was great though. Gives us realistic expectations as well for the role. But yeah, I'd say for any kind of new SDRs, keep positive, because it can be quite easy to get bogged down. Meet as many people as you can in person or virtually, and copy in high achievers. Obviously, put your own spin on things, but if someone's hitting 100% plus, like what are they doing? Let's find out. Let's chat to them. What's working for them, and kind of replicate that. We've got a tool called Gong as well that we can listen to calls back, and I still try and do that for about an hour a day. I was listening to mine back, listen to people who I know are good on the phones, listening to demos, that sort of thing. I think constantly learning is always a good tip too.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for coming on. I guess for the wrap, I guess for everyone else to hear, and myself, what's next for you? Like going into the new year, have you set your own personal goals, team goals? Like what's next for Hailey Bailey in the tech sales space?
Yeah, so super excited. So I've got Q1 just started. I want to absolutely smash that. So that's obviously my main goal. But yeah, I'd love to make that promotion up to AE this year as well. So fingers crossed for that. But yeah, just trying to take it a day at a time, booking those meetings.
Love it. Thanks so much. I know that it's been a pretty short pod, but I think we've covered everything we had scheduled, and I've loved reconnecting on this. Really happy you're doing so well and finding that flexibility. And yeah, big thank you, and we'll circle back offline.
Oh, cheers, Jack.
Take care. See ya.
Bye.